Good morning. Today we're diving into something real, something raw. I want to talk about 12 brutal life lessons nobody teaches you, but ones that every single one of us has to learn at some point. Life doesn't hand out guides or manuals. We learn in the trenches, in the tough times, through the moments that test us, break us, and ultimately shape us. 1. Embrace the pain as part of your growth. 2. You are not always in control, and that's okay. Now, this one is tough for those of us who like to plan everything down to the last detail, but life has its own plans, and it doesn't always ask for our permission. There are moments where you'll have to let go of the reins and trust the journey. When things go wrong, when life throws you curveballs, it's not about losing control. It's about finding peace in the uncertainty. Remember, what's meant for you will find its way to you, even if the road looks nothing like what you imagined. Free. People will disappoint you, but don't let that define you. Here's a hard truth: the people you love the most may hurt you. They may disappoint you in ways you never expected. But what I want you to understand is this: people's actions are a reflection of their own struggles, not of your worth. Don't allow someone else's failure to love you the way you deserve to dim your light. Keep shining. Keep loving. Keep believing in the goodness of others. And most importantly, keep believing in yourself. 4. Failure is inevitable, but it's never the end. Oh, failure. That word alone strikes fear into so many hearts. But let me tell you, failure is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. Every single setback, every stumble, every no you hear is just one step closer to the yes that will change everything. Success is not about never falling, it's about getting up every time you do. So don't fear failure, learn from it, let it guide you toward your next breakthrough. 5. Happiness is an inside job. One of the most brutal lessons to learn is that happiness is not something you can find in another person, a job, or material things. It's something you cultivate within. True happiness doesn't come from outside validation. It comes from the peace you build within yourself, knowing that no matter what happens, you are enough. 6. Nobody owes you anything. This one is a tough pill to swallow. The world doesn't owe you understanding, success, or even fairness. You may work hard and still face setbacks. But the real power comes when you stop waiting for things to be handed to you and start creating your own opportunities. Take responsibility for your life and go after what you deserve. 7. Time is more valuable than money. We spend so much time chasing money, status, and material success. But the one thing we never get back is time. Use it wisely. Spend it with the people you love. Invest it in experiences that fill your soul. And remember, you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. 8. Not everyone wants to see you win. As much as we'd like to think that everyone around us wants us to succeed, the truth is, some people will envy your growth, but don't let their negativity stop you from moving forward. Surround yourself with people who celebrate your wins, who push you to be better, and who genuinely want to see you thrive. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If you don't love yourself, it will show in every aspect of your life, in your relationships, your work, and your health. Self-love isn't selfish, it's essential. Set boundaries. Take care of your mental, emotional, and physical well-being, because you can't give your best if you're running on empty. 10. Perfection is an illusion. Perfection is the enemy of progress. We waste so much time trying to be perfect, to have the perfect job, the perfect body, the perfect life. But perfection isn't real. What's real is progress, taking small steps toward becoming the best version of yourself, even if that journey is messy and imperfect. 11. You will lose people along the way. Not everyone is meant to stay in your life forever. Some people are here for a season, to teach you something or help you grow. Letting go of relationships, even ones that were once meaningful, is part of life's journey. Grieve the loss, but don't hold on to people who no longer serve your growth. 12. You are capable of more than you know. And finally, the most important lesson: you are stronger, wiser, and more capable than you give yourself credit for. Life will test you. It will push you to your limits. But when you think you've hit rock bottom, that's when you discover just how much power you truly hold. don't ever doubt your ability to rise, to heal, to overcome. Closing. So, my friends, these lessons may be brutal, but they're real. And if we can learn to face them head on, if we can find the courage to lean into the discomfort, we'll come out stronger on the other side. Life isn't always kind, but it is always teaching. And it's up to us to learn. Pain is an inevitable part of life. It's something none of us can escape, and yet so many of us spend our days trying to avoid it. We think if we can just outrun it, if we can sidestep it or bury it deep enough, we won't have to feel it. But here's the truth: pain is not something to run from. It's something we have to embrace, because within that pain lies the potential for the deepest growth. When you're in those moments when your heart aches, when the world feels like it's closing, and it's easy to believe that nothing good can come from that space, but in reality, that's where transformation begins. Growth rarely happens in the comfort zone. It happens in the difficult conversations, the heartbreak, the failure, the moments where you feel like you're at the edge of your limits. That discomfort, that's where change lives. It's where you find the strength you never knew existed, where you uncover resilience that's been lying dormant, waiting for you to tap into it. Pain doesn't just reveal your strength, it sharpens your character. Think about it: if life were easy all the time, would you really be challenged to become more patient, more understanding, more compassionate? Those qualities don't just develop in a vacuum. They come from being tested. When life throws difficulties your way, it's an opportunity to grow into the person you're meant to be. And sometimes the hardest lessons come wrapped in the most difficult experiences. Pain also teaches us how to let go. Sometimes we hold on so tightly to things that no longer serve us: relationships, jobs, identities, because we're afraid of the unknown. But when we face pain head on, we're forced to release what no longer fits in our lives. That might mean letting go of a friendship that has run its course, or leaving behind a version of yourself that's no longer true to who you are. It hurts to let go, but it's necessary to make space for something new. And in that space, new possibilities arise. And let's not forget, pain can be a powerful teacher of empathy. When you've gone through tough times, when you've faced heartbreak, rejection, or loss, you develop a deeper understanding of what others might be going through. You stop judging so quickly because you've been there. You know what it feels like to struggle, to be knocked down by life. And that empathy is a gift you can carry with you, helping others as you rise from your own pain. Embracing pain as part of your growth isn't about pretending to enjoy suffering. It's about recognizing that within every painful moment, there is an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more capable. It's about understanding that life's hardest experiences are not meant to break you, but to build you. It's about leaning into those moments when all you want to do is turn away, and finding the lesson, the growth, the transformation that is waiting on the other side. We often ask ourselves, why is this happening to me? But the real question is, what is this teaching me? Pain comes to show us something, to make us aware of what needs to shift, whether it's in our mindset, our relationships, or our path. It's not about avoiding life's challenges, but about trusting that every challenge you face is helping to carve out the person you're destined to become. When we stop resisting the pain and start learning from it, we stop seeing it as something to fear and start seeing it as part of the process, our process of becoming. In the end, embracing pain as part of your growth is about accepting that life will not always be easy, but it will always offer you a chance to evolve. And that evolution, that growth, is worth every ounce of the struggle. Because when you look back at those moments of pain, you'll realize they were the catalyst that shaped you into the strong, resilient person you are today. So when pain comes knocking, don't shrink back, step forward. Because you're not just going through it, you're growing through. One of the hardest lessons to learn in life is that we are not always in control. And that's okay. We live in a world that tells us we can map out our lives, plan every step, and avoid all the pitfalls if we just work hard enough, prepare enough, and stay disciplined. But the reality is, life is unpredictable. It will throw challenges, surprises, and detours your way that you never saw coming, and no amount of planning can fully prevent that. And here's the thing, it's in these very moments, when everything feels out of control, that the greatest growth and transformation can happen. We spend so much time trying to manage and control every detail of our lives, believing that we can steer everything in the direction we want it to go. We plan our careers, our relationships, our futures as if life will follow the script we've written. But life doesn't work that way. It has its own script, and it often doesn't align with what we had in mind. You can be doing everything right, following all the steps, making all the right decisions, and yet something unexpected can come along and change everything in an instant. And that's where the discomfort of losing control creeps in. The discomfort of not being in control can be overwhelming. It's in our nature to want to feel secure, to believe that we can direct our lives with precision. But the truth is, no matter how much we prepare, some things are simply beyond our control, whether it's the actions of others, the outcomes of our efforts, or the unexpected challenges that life throws our way. Illness, loss, failure, heartbreak, these things don't ask for our permission before they enter our lives. And that uncertainty can feel destabilizing, even terrifying. But here's the liberating truth. Not being in control doesn't mean you're powerless. In fact, when you accept that you can't control everything, you start to realize where your true power lies. It's not in managing every little detail of your life, but in how you respond to what happens. When you let go of the need to control every outcome, you open yourself up to a deeper level of trust in yourself, trust in the process, and trust in life. You start to understand that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can control how you navigate it, how you learn from it, and how you grow through it. Letting go of control also brings a kind of peace that many of us don't realize we're missing. We exhaust ourselves trying to make everything go according to plan. We stress, we worry, we obsess over what might go wrong or what we didn't anticipate. But when we allow ourselves to surrender to the flow of life, to accept that not everything is in our hands, a weight lifts. You realize that you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to figure everything out right now. And that's okay. Life is not a problem to be solved. It's a mystery to be lived. In those moments when things feel chaotic, when nothing is going according to plan, that's often when life is teaching you the most. It's showing you the value of resilience, the strength of adaptability, and the power of trust. It's teaching you to be flexible, to adjust when the unexpected happens, and to find peace even in the midst of uncertainty. Life has a way of bringing you to exactly where you need to be, even if the journey looks nothing like what you envisioned. Sometimes best opportunities, the most meaningful relationships, and the most profound personal growth come from the moments that felt like everything was out of control. When we stop trying to control every outcome, we also allow space for new possibilities to enter. Sometimes holding on too tightly to our plans limits us. We miss out on opportunities because we're too focused on steering in one direction. But when we loosen our grip, when we trust that life may no more than open ourselves to experiences that we never would have chosen, but that end up being exactly what we need. This isn't to say that we shouldn't have goals or aspirations. Of course, we should aim high and work toward what we want in life. But the key is learning to balance effort with surrender. Do the work, set your intentions, but also understand that the universe may have other plans. And that's not a failure on your part, that's part of the mystery and beauty of life. You don't always know what's best for your growth. Sometimes the detours, the roadblocks, and the unexpected challenges are exactly what you need to become the person you're meant to be. There's a certain grace in releasing the need for control. It allows you to stop resisting life and start flowing with it. It's about being grounded enough in yourself to weather the storms, but flexible enough to bend when the winds of change blow your way. When you accept that not everything is within your control, you start to live more fully in the present moment. You stop worrying so much about the future and start appreciating the here and now, because you realize that's the only thing you truly have control over this moment, your response to it, and your willingness to trust the process. In the end, life is unpredictable, and that unpredictability is part of its richness. Not being in control doesn't mean you're at the mercy of chaos. It means you're learning to trust in the bigger picture, to trust that even in the uncertainty, there is purpose. And when you can let go of control, when you can trust that you have the strength to handle whatever comes your way, you open yourself up to the fullness of life, its surprises, its lessons, and its beauty. People will disappoint you. It's a hard truth to accept, but it's one of the most essential lessons in life. We all have expectations, hopes, and dreams for the people we care about. We invest our love, trust, and energy in them, and we naturally believe they will show up for us in the same way. But life doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes the very people we hold closest, those we expect the most from, fail us. They might let us down, break promises, or hurt us in ways we never thought possible. It's painful, disorienting, and often feels like a betrayal. But here's the key: while their actions can wound you, they don't have to define you. Disappointment in others is inevitable because, like you, everyone is human. Humans are flawed, imperfect, and often burdened by their own limitations, fears, and insecurities. People act out of their own wounds, their own struggles, and their own stories that we might not even fully understand. Sometimes the people who hurt us do so because they are caught up in their own pain, and their actions are less about us and more about what they're going through. That doesn't make it hurt any less, but understanding this can shift how you process the disappointment. When someone lets you might ask yourself, why wasn't I enough for them to show up? Or what did I do wrong to deserve this? It's not about you being It's important to remember that people will fail you not because they don't care or because you aren't deserving, but because they are human. This understanding allows you to approach disappointment with a sense of compassion, not only for them, but for yourself. You can grieve the disappointment without allowing it to tear down your sense of self-worth. People's actions may hurt, but they don't have the power to diminish who you are unless you let them. The danger of being disappointed by others is that it can harden your heart if you let it. You might start to build walls, become defensive, or close yourself off to trust and vulnerability. But if you allow other people's failures to dictate how you live and love, you end up carrying their wounds as your own. You start believing that because one person hurt you, everyone will. And that belief can shape the way you show up in relationships going forward. But just because one person or even several people disappoint you doesn't mean you should close yourself off. You have to continue showing up fully, continue loving fully, and continue believing in the goodness of others even when they fall short. Disappointment is an invitation to look at what you need and whether the person who disappointed you is capable of giving it. Sometimes people simply aren't equipped to meet your needs, and while it's painful to accept, recognizing this can lead to healthy relationships. You may have to set boundaries, step back, or even let go of relationships that no longer serve you. It's not about holding grudges or shutting people out. It's about protecting your own well-being and ensuring that you surround yourself with people who can truly support you. And here's something crucial: even when people disappoint you, you don't have to carry that disappointment as a badge of bitterness. It's easy to become cynical after being hurt, to tell yourself that you'll never trust again, never allow yourself to be vulnerable again. But that robs you of the beauty of connection. Yes, people will hurt you. Yes, they will fall short. But that doesn't mean you close off your heart. It means you learn, you adjust your expectations, and you keep your heart open for those who will come through for you. Because there will be people who don't let you down. There will be people who rise to the occasion, who love you in ways that heal rather than hurt. Disappointment is also an opportunity for self-reflection. Sometimes our expectations of others are unrealistic or unspoken. We expect people to know what we need without telling them, or we place them on pedestals, believing they can do no wrong. When they inevitably fall short, it feels like a much bigger blow. Part of dealing with disappointment is recognizing that no one is perfect and that sometimes we need to be clearer about what we need or more forgiving of others' imperfections. It's about finding that balance between holding people accountable and giving them grace. But at the same time, it's important to know when to walk away from relationships that consistently disappoint you. If someone continually fails to honor your trust, respect your boundaries, or value your needs, it's not a reflection of your inadequacy. It's a signal that the relationship may not be healthy or fulfilling. You have the right to protect your peace and your heart. Letting go doesn't mean you're giving up on people. It means you're choosing to prioritize your well-being over staying in a situation that drains you. Ultimately, people's disappointments are part of life, but they don't have to define you or the way you live. You are more than the ways others have failed you. You're worthy of love, respect, and care, even if others haven't always shown that to you. Keep your heart soft, keep your boundaries strong, and remember that while people may disappoint you, you have the power to choose how you respond, how to heal, and how you continue to love. You don't have to let the pain of disappointment close you off from the joy and connection that life has to offer. Failure is something we all fear. It's that moment when things don't go according to plan, when all the effort you've put into something seems to unravel before your eyes. You feel the sting of disappointment, the weight of regret, and the pressure of what others might think. Failure can make you feel vulnerable, exposed, and even ashamed. But here's the truth: failure is inevitable, and despite how it feels in the moment, it's never the end. One of the most important things to realize about failure is that it's not a reflection of your worth or your potential. We tend to internalize failure, believing it says something about who we are, about our capabilities, or about our future. But failure is simply a part of the process, a step along the journey. It doesn't mean you aren't good enough. It doesn't mean you won't succeed. It means you've tried something, you've taken a risk, and it didn't work out the way you hoped. And that's okay. In fact, that's necessary. Failure is not a stop sign, it's a lesson. Every time you fail, you're being handed an opportunity to learn something valuable. Maybe the plan you had wasn't quite right. Maybe you need more time, more practice, or a different approach. Maybe the timing wasn't in your favor. Failure has a way of showing you what needs to change, what needs to grow, and what you need to develop. Instead of seeing it as a final verdict on your ability, see it as feedback and invitation to adjust and try again with more wisdom, more insight, and more understanding of what's required. It's easy to think of failure as a setback, but what if you saw it as a setup? Every time you fail, you're being prepared for something greater. You're being strengthened to the next challenge, equipped with the knowledge and experience that will serve you later on. Think of all the stories of people who've achieved great things. In nearly every one of those stories, failure played a crucial role. Before the triumph, there were missteps, closed doors, and moments of doubt. But what separates those who succeed from those who give up is their ability to see failure not as the end of the road, but as part of the road. Failure also teaches resilience. It's in those moments when things don't go as planned that you have the chance to build inner strength. Success feels good, but it doesn't test you the way failure does. When you fail, you're faced with a choice. You can let it defeat you, or you can rise again, stronger and more determined. Each time you get back up, you're proving to yourself that you can handle adversity, that you're capable of facing challenges, and that you're not defined by your setbacks. This resilience, this ability to persevere in the face of failure, is one of the most powerful qualities you can develop. It's what turns failure into fuel.